All right, guys. Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining us. My name, for those of you who don't know me, is Joshua Lee. Um, and in these videos, you've come here to learn how to play the bass guitar. Cheers to you. Bass is a super fun instrument. Um, it's the backbone to the rhythm section with the drums. And, well, it's just damn cool. So, in these videos, I am going to give you guys basic and beginner bass lessons, just to get you started on playing your guitar and learning your instrument. Some of you may know I also do a beginner set for guitar, so if you want to learn both, feel free. I have videos for both. The basics of bass, you guys will see posted on my YouTube channel all the time, The Plague Doctor. That would be yours truly, because of the lovely Black Plague of 2020 that we're experiencing here. But you'll find those on my YouTube channel. And for the advanced bass lessons, I don't do advanced guitar lessons yet because, well, I'm a classic rock and punk guitarist. I'm not Yngwie Malmsteen, so I have no business teaching an advanced thing for guitar. But for bass, I've been playing this bad boy for 28 years. For those of you that don't know me, I am the former bassist for Ashes of Agony. Former bassist for My Olner, which are some of my projects that were better known. Currently, I am the guitarist for the Wet Brains, which is a punk band out of Rhode Island, which is pretty appropriate, seeing the fact that Rhode Island has gone from being the rich people capital of the world in the 20s to being basically blue-collar scuzzhole that it is now. But we love our little state and our crappy beer and etc. But yeah, if you're here, you've come to learn bass, and you've come to do it from someone who is not a stuffy, pretentious prog metalhead sitting there being like, I'm arpeggiating the fifth note of the harmonic pentatonic blah blah blah. You're just coming to learn the basics in a broken down manner from someone who absolutely just loves the instrument and just wants to spread knowledge. And when we come out of this whole plague shit, hopefully some of the stuff that you'll learn here will start you guys playing, and we'll emerge with more musicians to revitalize the music scene and the local music scene especially, because it's going to take some hits after this. This virus stuff has definitely sucked some ass and taken a lot of the wind out of local music, and it's definitely done some damage and will continue to do damage the longer it goes. But it's hopes with people like myself and others who are doing these videos, one, that we dispel that you have to be some pretentious douchebag with an IQ of 1,000,000 to play a fucking instrument. And that pretty much anybody who really, really loves music, with a little bit of time, a little bit of love, and a little bit of practice can play. Music is for everyone. It is not just for your prog douchebag from Fender who's teaching a free lesson while he sits there brushing his long locks and telling you stuff that you have no understand, because basic and beginners, most of the time, have no understanding of theory. None. And you shouldn't. You don't have to. You're just starting. I'm not saying don't learn it, because eventually, if you're going to start writing music, you're going to have to learn theory. You're going to have to learn notation and how to read sheet music. And I highly suggest that you do. But just for your basic starting, lessons in my book should just be what you need to know to get yourself playing. Myself personally, just to give you a little bit of back history on me, I started when I was a little kid, and I started on bass guitars. I got really into it around 11 when I hit junior high school. I'm self-taught. I learned by watching videos and listening to a lot of music, because it's been my life. I absolutely adore music. It is something that I pour my entire heart and soul into. It's been a big, huge part of my existence. But I learned from watching videos of people like Cliff Burton from Metallica playing in Cliff Mall. Hugely paying attention to Geezer Butler and videos of Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath, and people like Victor Wooten, and watching their videos and how they played and where they moved, and then listening and just picking up my instrument and just fucking around and having fun. And I learned basics and how to play, and over the years as I practiced and experimented, I just got better and better, and as will you. But I didn't learn from some person telling me to arpeggiate. No, I just learned from watching and seeing people who loved what they were doing what they do best. So I'm going to try and keep these lessons not dry. I'm going to keep them a lot of fun. You're going to hear me swear my face off because, again, I'm a shitty blue-collar punk kid from fucking Providence, Rhode Island. I swear. I drink beer on camera. It's just going to happen. But I'm going to try and keep these lessons as fun as possible and as functioning possible. I'm going to try and get you guys to playing as quickly as possible. This first video is going to go a little slow because, like I said, I'm giving you background on myself so you know who the fuck is teaching you. And I'm not just some faceless person millions of miles away or down the street or whatever. I mean, a lot of my friends, hi guys, are going to be tuning into this to watch, whether either to learn or just to support, and I so appreciate that. And I want to be something more than just a face on a screen to you guys. I want to, hey, I know that dude. So this first video is going to be that, and just basically breaking down the parts of your instrument, because I'm going to start teaching you guys with the assumption that you've never ever touched one of these ever in your lifetime. This first time that you're picking one up is today, and you have no clue what any of this is called. So I'm going to start out there, and that's more what this is going to focus with today. We're going to end with showing you how to start playing your instrument. I'm going to show you some basic plucking styles. Again, there are 10 million different ways to pluck and play a bass, but we're going to start with the most rudimentary, and that's just the 2-finger or 1-finger pluck. And I'm probably, by the end of the video, to do that and give you practice, going to teach you your bass scale, which is your pentatonic scale. And that is, you know, that is your standard blues scale. And that should get you at least playing something by the end of this video and give you something to practice. And then each video that we go on from here, I'm going to give you a little bit more difficult stuff, and we're going to cover more things, some chords. And once we go through your basics and most of your scale working and how that's done, then we'll start learning songs that are very, very simple. Like we're going to learn the Ramones, because they're the Ramones. They're fun. Everybody loves the Ramones. Everybody wants to be sedated. We're going to learn classic headbangers, like we're going to learn some Black Sabbath. We're going to learn Nativity in Black, actually, is the song I have on my little sheet over here, things to teach you guys, my teaching itinerary, I guess, so to speak. And we're going to progress you along the way, and we're going to get you going, and eventually you're not going to need me, and these videos will end, and then we'll start an advanced course and other things. And then, you know, hopefully by the end of this video series, you guys are playing on your own. You're creating your own music, or at least learning songs that you love so you can join cover bands and get out there and bring our music scene back. Or even if the plague is still going on, you know, video chat, get with your people, write some music, use some equipment, use things like Logic to send riffs back and forth, and start producing you guys' own music so we keep fresh new stuff coming out there in an art form that most of us have devoted our lifetime to. Doesn't just poof. So we're going to jump right into it, and we're going to start up. Again, I'm going to assume that you guys have never touched one of these instruments, so we're going to start with going over the basic parts to your instrument and what they are, what they're properly called, and kind of what they do. For a bass, very simple. Bass comes standard in 4 strings. It comes in a variety of other strings, but the most classically way it's done, it is a 4-string instrument. Again, you can have 5 strings, 6 strings. I've even seen gnarly things up to 12 strings, which at that point, personally, me, I look at you and I go, why the fuck don't you just play guitar? They're crazy. They are out there. 12-string bass, neck's huge. But we're going to start you on the most basic. And we're going to start you out on the 4-string, because it was a 4-string bass that makes most of the music that you love. A 4-string bass in what's called standard E tuning, which we'll get to in a minute. After we go through our parts, we'll go through tuning and setup. But this is where most of your stuff, from blues to classic rock to heavy metal to certain forms of folk and everything else, primarily will have a 4-string bad boy in it. The particular one that I'm playing today, and you guys will see me play tons of different ones throughout this series, because as you can see behind me, there's a small army. But the one I'm playing today is your standard Squier Fender. It is a black on black, triple humbuckered bass guitar, which means humbuckers, which are these. They're your pickups. Triple humbucker means I have 3 of them. These are relatively inexpensive basses, but they're super well built, and they have a beautiful tone to them, and they're very player friendly. Fender usually makes an excellent bass. My personal favorite is the Fender P bass, or the Precision bass. It's the one I started on, and I still own one right happily behind me over here. Epiphone also makes a lovely bass, like the Thunderbird. But that's, again, a little bit more high-end, which is going to cost you a little bit more. If you're looking for something just player-friendly and something you can go on Amazon, or you can go to your local guitar shop, or you can go to a Guitar Center, which in that case, screw you, corporate bastard. I didn't say that. They're really inexpensive and easy to get a hand on, especially the P-Bass. The Mexican-style P-Bass, which is not the Fender Classic American, but same exact thing if you ask me. Makes the same noise, just one's more player-friendly and affordable. But again, say we're starting out with a Fender. Going over the basic parts to your guitar, you have over here, starting at the top, the headstock. The headstock is the top of your guitar neck. It is where your strings are wound to the top through your tuning keys, which are the devices that, you guessed it, are used to tune your instrument. Your strings are run from the headstock through this little black part right here. That's called the nut. The nut. It holds your strings in place on the fretboard so they keep their average place and do not flippy flop all around and sound like muddy garbage. Moving on to the neck of your guitar, or better known as the fretboard, which is this lovely brown board attached to your neck that lays flat across, containing frets. Each one of these, the higher you go, will produce a higher noise, a higher pitch and tone for your guitar, changing notes all the way up. Next, you get to the body of your guitar. The body. Your bodies are pretty much all relatively the same. They come in a multitude of shapes and sizes, but they'll have the same features. If you are going, most Fender guitars will only have 2 humbuckers, and these 2. This is a feature for this one, is a bridge one. These are your neck pickups, your bridge pickups. You'll see 3 sets of lovely tone knobs on here, each operating the volume and tone of your 2 pickups, so you can actually isolate. Say if you don't want your humbucker pickup, turn that bad boy off. You don't want your middle, turn it off. And this will change and affect the tone of your guitar. The next part you're going to find here is your bridge. Bridge of your guitar is where it holds it set up. It holds these little hammer looking things that are performed and set up, and they keep your strings at the proper elevation off of your fretboard, so where you can play and it produces an upward tone and doesn't buzz as it strikes strings. That's your basic parts there. On the bottom, you have your input jack. Sometimes those are found over here. And that is where you're going to take your cable that connects either to your wireless system or your amplifier. In my case, I have wireless. Go AKG wireless. That plugs to my amp that you see behind me, which is, for me, today I'm coming out of a PV Basic 112. Super affordable amp, super durable. They last years and years. The tone, as you can hear out of them, is just wonderful. Another great amplifier company is that I will swear by is Orange. I use those for guitar, and Ampeg. They all make great bass amplifiers, but for today and for the purposes we're going for, just small room jamming, we're going to stick with the PV Basic 112. So now that has all the pieces of your guitar. Now you are familiar with your bass guitar and your instrument. You guys are now friends. You now know each other anatomically. Super for you. Next, now, when you get your bass, it is not going to have any strings on it. These hammers down here aren't going to be properly set. So you're going to want to take your instrument the very first time. Now, as you get more profound in it, you're going to learn how to do it yourself. But the first time, you're going to have no idea how to do a setup on your instrument. So it is my high suggestion to you that when you first get it and you're first taking it out of the box, take it to a shop like Knoll Guitar, which is in Cranston, Rhode Island, or Ross Music, which is in Warwick, Rhode Island. Those two are my favorites. Big shout out to both those guys, Ross Music in Warwick and Knoll Guitars in Cranston, who have been taking care of my guitars and amplifiers for years upon years and years, as I have broken them, busted wires in them, blown up tubes, drunkenly kicked in speakers at shows because I thought it was cool, whatever have you. Especially Ross Music. I will have to say the guys at Ross Music have probably saved more instruments of mine from horrible abuse, death than I ever want to remember. So big shout out to those guys. But take it to your local music shop, one that services guitars, and have the setup. Have them put the first set of strings on it. Have them set your hammers and your bridge so you're at the proper intonation and setup and height. That is key. Best bet for you, because we're not going to go over it in these videos. Well, we might, but not for a long time. The setup of these bad boys, that's something you're going to have to learn. Go to your music shop and ask the guy. You're sitting at Ross Music, ask my buddy down there, hey, can I watch what you're doing? And he'll walk you through it. Most music shops will love to walk you through setup because they're there to fix them when you break them or fix your amplifier. It's kind of annoying just going, can you take my guitar? They'll want to teach you, so you're only coming in there for the important stuff. Especially Ross, the guy there, absolutely loves to teach people everything. And it's not because of the reason I just mentioned, it's just because the guy's awesome. He loves teaching people. Same with Knoll Guitars. They will be so interactive with you, it won't even be funny. But take it and have it set up. And they'll set your hammers and everything for your bridge, and they'll set your strings, and they'll even probably tune it. Next thing you want to do is get yourself a nice, affordable tuner. They make little tiny ones that you can plug right in, or they make stomp boxes. Gibson Epiphones makes a nice portable tuner. Digitech makes a wonderful stomp box tuner. But get yourself a nice, affordable tuner so you can get where you're going, and you can figure it out. And they're really, really simple. They're pretty much idiot-proof when you look at them. You strike your string. If it's the E string, it'll pick up that it's the E string. It'll tell you if it's an E or not by a green light or a red light. It'll tell you whether you're too high or too low. You follow that and begin to tune up your guitar. Now, for most basses, there are a multitude of tunings you can start with. E, you can join in D, drop D, C. I even see some crazy vocals doing it in A tuning, which is really, really for super, super deep metal. Personally, when I was with Ashes of Agony, most of the songs that you hear us write in, we wrote it in A tuning. But if you're just going for normal rock and roll or heavy metal, the tunings you want are either E standard or D. And that's just your normal, most common varieties of tuning. We're going to start this video with E. And E tuning is real simple. It is your bottom string tuned to E, your second string tuned to A, third string tuned to D, and fourth string tuned to G. Yes, you now have a G string. Pop that G string. Now as you stand tuned, one easy way to tell if you're in tune is once you've assured by listening to your guitarist or a video or whatever have you that your E string is in, you can check the rest of your strings without a tuner by coming to the 5th fret on the E and striking the A. If they sound the same, then your A is in tune. Come next to your A, to your D. If they sound the same, you're in tune. Same with your G string. All in tune. And that's just an easy way to cheat and know if you're in tune and make quick adjustments if you don't want to plug into a tuner. If you're on stage and you just, hey, guitar man, give me an E. You make sure that your E matches, you tune it up, and then you just use that technique to do it all the rest. A quick way to tune on stage. Quick way to get yourself in. It'll also help you develop the ability to detect pitch and tone and know if you are in tune just naturally, to where eventually you won't need a tuner. You'll just need your ear and be like, okay, I'm out. And when you're playing, you'll notice. And it just will help round you a little bit more. It's a technique that was taught to me years ago by a man by the name of Russell Spellman, who I used to jam with when I was a teenager. He was like the old hippie of the neighborhood, but he taught me that cheat trick, and something I've kept with it. And it's gotten to the point now where if I hear one of my strings is out on stage, I can hear that. I can detect that little bit, and I can tune it without actually having to unplug and plug into a box or switch channels. It's just a quick, cool way, and it's a nifty way to help you out. But once you've ensured that your bass is in tune, now you know your bass intimately, you know all of its parts, you've fondled it, you've touched them, you've gone, hey, sweet. Now you know the sound or your bass's voice when she's in tune. You're ready to play. Now, we're going to start. There are so many different ways that you can pick a bass. You can actually play it with a pick, which is indigenous of most like punk musics. Some of the heavier types of metal where they're doing extremely fast playing, they'll use a pick. But for the most part, you're going to use your hands. Specifically, the most two abused fingers, these ones. Even if you're learning something like slap bass, because you're still going to have to pluck with them occasionally, but in that case, the bottom of your thumb becomes the most abused thing on the planet. Tons of ways to pick a bass. Today I'm just going to start out with the very, very simple, the walking with your fingers, and that is the classic way that people like Geezer Butler played. Les Claypool plays that way with his fingers, and he plays slap, which is we'll get into in later videos. Cliff Burton, all of his heaviest stuff, as fast as it was played with his fingers. A lot of bassists prefer your fingers because you can be super accurate with them. As to where a pick, you can miss it. You're not missing anything with your fingers. It allows you to play more than one note, so you can play 2 to 3 simultaneously if you're getting that good, and that's more for the advanced stuff that we'll show you later. But, I mean, it's just the most common way. And you hear the expression, you're plucking a bass. Well, you're going to do just that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up so you guys can see my bridge and things, and I'm going to raise up so you can see me. Now, your little wandering thumb. If you're not playing slap bass, there are several things you can buy, little mounts that you can screw onto your guitar, or most commonly, as most of us do, you're going to take that little thumbkin there, and you're going to plant his ass right on one of your pickups to rest. Because he's going to be your fulcrum point. Like this, if you're playing a guitar where you're using your pinky to anchor, and that's your fulcrum, for here, that is your fulcrum. Most of this action is going to come with your wrist, and it's going to require a lot of, manual dexterity and a lot of forearm muscle. You're going to get weird muscles that are going to pop out that you never knew you had before, like that one. You see, flipping around there. You're going to get Popeye arms from playing bass because that dexterity and constant moving your fingers, you can see as it moves every muscle in your forearm. So that's where most of your motion and your ability to play and duration of time that you can play is going to come from. So you're going to start by taking your thummy, poising him on there, whether you're flat or thing. You want to make sure that he can move and that your wrist can move from up to down. You're going to take these 2 fingers, with this one slightly more extended. I'm going to teach you the 1 finger pick for this time, and then we'll eventually move on to 2 and then to using your full hand. But poise him, get your one guy, have it support almost like you're giving some weird gnarly 90s hand gang symbol, but really it's just high picking. And you're going to take it from the bottom of your string and pull upwards. Not from underneath, but just a nice upwards pull. And that is going to pluck your instrument. Now you can pluck farther to the back, towards your rear pickup. That'll give you a deeper sound. It's however you feel comfortable, wherever you really want to go. As you get to play, you'll know where to put your finger more from you. Stuff, but basically we just want you doing that. Side shot so you can see really how I'm doing that. There you have your beginning of how to pluck. Now, in order to gain yourself some dexterity, because again, can't stress this enough, that's going to be key. There's a lot of exercises that you can do and that will build your manual dexterity. One of my favorites, excuse me, beer break. One of my favorite ones, and people always think it's like a nervous twitch. I love people who are like, are you okay, man? Are you worried about something? No, I'm practicing for instrument. Find a surface, starting with your pinky, and just tap. And just keep doing it. You're going to look like a weirdo on the bus, sitting there going, on your knee. But when you go to play your instrument, you'll be thanking me. Instead of being 2 or 3 notes in and going, damn, my fucking hand and my forearm hurt like a bitch. because you're doing those little exercises. You will be able to play doing stuff like that for hours before you'll even get a slate. Like, ew. Do that with both hands because you're going to need them with both hands. So as you can just see there, bass, unlike guitar, relies more on scales than it does on the chord. So your fingers are going to be constantly moving. Another thing you want to do is, even if you're not playing, if you're just sitting around, not playing, run your finger up and down your strings. The reason I say this is you're going to hurt. When you first start playing, these big old beefy strings are going to hurt your fingers. They're going to rip them up. You're going to have all sorts of shredding and molting issues, where you're going to shred your fingers to pieces. And the more you play, and the more you shred them up, starts developing calluses, which will protect your fingers from doing that. So you'll notice the first few times you play, if you play for a couple of hours, you're going to start to bleed. And you're going to have to change your strings and clean your board, which is always a bitch. But the more you play, the callus will develop, and that'll stop happening. And it'll obviously make it hurt a lot less when you have to send your finger down the board. You're not going to go, oh, with a big red streak of blood behind you, or finger dust or grossness. So those are just a couple little things that you can do to practice getting your dexterity up and building your calluses so you can start playing. Like I said, bass relies more on scales than it does chords. And today, just to end this video, I'm going to teach you guys just your basic opening pentatonic scale, and that will let you practice your plucking, and it'll get you starting on playing. A lot of your core songs in rock and roll, blues especially, this is actually nicknamed the blues scale because it is your classic scale that you hear in every blues song ever. B.B. King rapes this scale, but he's a god, so he can't. So I'm going to teach you that scale, and it's going to start you playing today. And even just from showing you that one scale, you're going to start to, in your head, hear songs and be like, hey, that's the pentatonic. It's just in a different order. That's reversed. And now you're going to start to be able to figure out simple songs on your own. So we've got you that first step into playing, that first step of tuning your ear to listen for a certain noise and be like, hey, I know what he's doing there. I wonder where he's doing that pentatonic. Is he starting it on the 5th fret? Is he starting it on the 6th? Because the pentatonic, or the major scale, is the most versatile. It'll work anywhere on your neck, no matter where you are. And it will always mesh with itself. Anywhere. It goes straight up the entire neck, like most scales do, but this one is the most rapeable. It will happen. It is some scales you can't start and start. This one you can. It is your verse. It is your backbone. So we're going to start there. Your general pentatonic, I'm going to start it from the base of my fretboard here, or the top of my neck, and I'm going to just work it up to my G string. Popping the G string. Yes, we're going to make a lot of G-string jokes. You're just going to have to forgive me. Sorry. Like I said, I'm not dry. I'm a goofball. I'm animated. I find G-strings and fart jokes funny. But we're going to start your learning there. And I'm going to start by calling out what string and what fret to go into. Because, obviously, you guys don't know. I can't be like, hit your A and go A sharp B. Nor would I even fucking want to do that because it goes against what I said when I started this video. I'm doing this so you can understand the most basic value. I will call out the string, the fret that you're in, and tell you where you're moving, and I will go from there. So you can really, really understand. Also, you can watch my fingers. That's why we're doing a video and not some just recorded CD of shit. So we're going to start with our pentatonic. We're going to start on E in the 1st fret, or E1. So you're going to go from 1st to 3rd on E. Go up to A, 1st fret to 3rd fret to 4th fret, back down to the 3rd, back down to the 1st, come back to E3, come back to E1. there you've learned the first part of the pentatonic scale. Now, to get the next step up, you're going to start out on A1, move up to A3, then you guessed it, to D1, to D3, to D4, back down to D3, D1, A3, A1. And I bet you can guess how this progression is going to continue to get up to your G string. You're going to start out on D1, D3, G string 1, G string 3, 4, 3, 1. And there is your whole pentatonic scale, kids. That will go anywhere on the neck. You can start that anywhere. I can start that, say, at E3 and work it up. E3 to 5, to A3, 5, 6, 5, 3, switching back to E, 5, 3. But that scale, again, works anywhere and is your general bass scale. So we're going to review again. You usually just remember the first, when it starts off, it skips a fret. This goes 1, skip a fret, 2. Next string, 1, skip a fret, 2. Move up to the next fret above it. And there's your pentatonic scale. And it can be played any way you want to do it too. It can be played in reverse. It can be played completely out of order and it'll still make sense, which is so the cool thing about that scale, and the chromatic scale too that does that. We'll get into the chromatic tomorrow. But for today's one, I think we're just going to leave you digesting the start of the pentatonic scale. So, to start your bad bitch, fly down, open, which by the way, when you're not depressing any string in any fret, it's called open. Just so you can get your musical notations again, E, A, D, G string. There's the same notes there too, so you're playing an E, open E. Alright, so we're going to start out, we're going to do the pentatonic with one finger, and we're going to just do that quick. So you guys can see a little bit up higher. Now, you're going to do it, and you're going to start slow, and you're going to be like, oh, this is awfully boring. But believe it or not, this is the best practice. And then find somewhere else in your fretboard, once you get it doing it on their E and A, and you can do the whole way up all the way to your G string, which is the same pattern. It's just after you complete the first, whatever the next string up, so I want to start on my A string, and then my D. And that's the way it'll work up. So I'll show you guys playing here how I do it, and how you can actually scale all the way up to G, and that is a complete scale up. And then pick places on the board, pick another string to start on, and pick other places on the boards and try it out. Move it around, see what it is. Rearrange it a little bit. Instead of doing the classic, do it out of order. Or do it in a completely weird order. Notice it works. No matter what you do to it, it works. Mess around with its order. I mean, just play around and dick around with that for a day. Because that is one scale that you will find yourself absolutely raping the living shit out of. It is, again, that core blues. That and the chromatic scale are the core blues scales. They are your major scales. That is the backbone for constructing anything from folk music to dicking around Yankee Doodle, straight all the way up to the most complex shit that Victor Wooten will play or Les Claypool will play. It's going to be that backbone of it. So again, I'm going to scale up my neck, and you guys are going to watch it and have fun and try and keep up with me while you're at home. I'm going to start out real slow, and I'm going to scale up the neck, and each time I go, I'm going to get up a little bit faster, and that's also another good practice. And the reason I'm showing that to you is for that reason, because that will help you with your speed and your dexterity and your accuracy, and it'll get you more into playing instead of that those slow. Eventually, by the end of this week, you'll be sitting there. But we'll start out slow. And we're going to watch me as I go along the pentatonic from key. There we go. There's one. Now we're going to go a little bit faster. All the way down. You know, want to keep taking that scale, and then you can, again, like I said, apply it somewhere else. So try now bringing it up and starting it off on your A string from 3. And you're going to go 3, 5, 3, 5, 6, 5, 3, 5, 3 on your on A and D. So A3, A5, D3, D5, D6, D5, D3, A5, A3. There you go. As I said, works anywhere else. Now you know, one, how to pick your instrument, and now you know a scale. I've taught you one, and you can replay this video and watch how I do it all over the bat. Another thing, if you have at any point questions, comments, concerns, by all means, please leave me a comment in the comment spot on my YouTube. I'm a very personable human being, so most of the times, drop me a message on Facebook. Find me on Facebook. For those of you that know me, or even students that are out there that find me on Facebook, feel free to video chat me and show me what you're doing. Be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. What am I doing wrong? Or what am I doing right here? Any questions, comments, concerns, any method of way you can get a hold of me, I will happily answer you. I usually will answer very, very quickly. Video chats, as long as I'm not chasing after one of my kids, I will more than happily answer you. You can schedule a private video conference with me where I'll go over individualized pieces and make a more individual person-to-person thing. I don't mind. For the love of God, if you have questions, comments, concerns, anything, please comment, call, write, email, do whatever you can do to get a hold of me, and I will be more than happy to field all of that stuff, because pretty much my primary job, besides being dad right now, is to teach you an instrument. So put me to work. I don't mind. Trust me. I'm sociable. I'm not going to bite anybody's head off. I'm not weird. You know, I'm not going to be like, hey, now we're going to stalk and be friends. Nope, I'm going to answer your question, then I'm going to forget who you are like 20 minutes later. So no stalking issues there, kids. So basically now you know the blues scale, your primary pentatonic in E or whatever you want to put it in. Take that scale. Play with it, mess with it, start practicing tonight, go up and down. If you want, be creepy and put this video in the section where I'm doing it on repeat and we can play it together. Whatever you want, take that scale, start to practice it. Ladies and gentlemen, you've started to play a bass guitar. Welcome to bass. If you like this video and you found them interesting and helpful and you want me to continue teaching you, please by all means tune in every week. I will, every time one of these videos comes up, which I usually do one a day or one a week, and it's going to slow down after a while because, you know, my attention span is going to go, and eventually it's going to become once a week. But for right now, it's going to be almost every day. When I do post a link, it'll be posted on my Facebook page. If you are not friends with me on Facebook, find my YouTube channel, Plague Doctor. On YouTube, you can see it's me in a gas mask holding a guitar, like, looking all cliched, scary metal kid. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to smash that like button if you really like these videos. Let me know, you know, that I'm not just sitting here talking to my camera, and I'm actually talking to some people. And like I said, tune in tomorrow. The next video will probably be up around the same time this one is tonight. I usually wait till after my kids go to bed, so I generally will post these around 8 o'clock. The next bass lesson will come out tomorrow. For right now, I think that's all I'm going to do for tonight. I might release a guitar lesson, so if you want to learn how to play guitar, lesson 1 is already up there, which is basically the same thing as this, only just for guitar. Lesson 2 might appear later on tonight, depending on how squirrely I feel. But I will guarantee you the next bass lesson will be up tomorrow night. And tomorrow night, we're going to go over some more scales. We're probably going to start you on the chromatic, which is basically just like the pentatonic, only it's a climb of 4. So it's, or the straight 4 climb. and that's going to scale all the way up the neck, just like this one, in any spot. We'll play with that one tomorrow. I think I'm also going to introduce you guys to some chords too, because though bass doesn't really rely on the chords and it's more of a scale instrument, which in many ways makes it a bit more difficult to learn than guitar, where guitar has a lot of chords and it's trust me, plenty difficult on its own. You gotta remember, with a bass, you have 4 strings to do what that guitarist has 6 to do. He has 6 strings to make the noise he's making. You have to make the same noise as he does with a deeper and more glassy tone on 4. And you have to do it by scaling. It's not really chord heavy. There are bass chords. They are usually very simple, where it is on one string and on the next string, skipping a fret. So they're usually something like that. Or reversed. Or sides. And those are done anywhere. And we'll start going over some of those tomorrow with your chromatic scale. But for today, like I said, take some time. You have learned the pentatonic scale, you've learned how to pluck, and you've learned the intimacies of your new best friend and partial lover. Trust me, my wife looks at my basses and goes, God, I fucking hate you guys because you get more attention from my husband than I do. So, by the way, if you have girlfriends, wives, husbands, etc., domestic partners, life mates, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that person that you are at home doing the dotty with, they're going to hate these, because this will consume most of your time and attention and will get plucked and played with a lot more. So be prepared for that. Be prepared to pay some money, because strings are expensive. But go, take some time, sit down, play that pentatonic scale, and anywhere you can on this board, following that formula until your fingers bleed, and practice. Kick yourself, have some fun, rearrange it, start playing some stuff. If you guys want, in the comments section, leave me a video of you practicing playing and some of the cool combos that you've come up with, and I'll send you more fun stuff to do. Just take your thing, take your newfound baby, like this one is Black Betty, whoa, Black Betty, and play, and just have fun. And as always, jam the fuck out and live the music. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Joshua Lee. This is Intros to Bass for Not a Pretentious Douchebag. See you next time.